Hey, what's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 196 of the Knup Sports Show. I'm your host, Ryan Newport, here with you each and every episode. First off, thanks so much for giving us a little of your time, a little attention to watch and listen to this show. We have another great guest here today. I'm super excited to dive in and learn all about what this guest is doing in business and what their company's up to and all of the above. March Madness, we're down to the Final Four as of this recording. I don't think anybody would have predicted this Final Four, but we're here. We got a unique set. And me living in Florida, I got two teams in Florida in the Final Four. That's crazy. So did not expect that to happen, but excited for that coming this weekend, Saturday and Monday. All right, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on my guest. Today I got Stefano Vaccarino of FTN. How are you, my friend?
Hey Ryan, how you doing? Great to be on. Thanks for having me.
I'm doing amazing. I'm really excited to get to know you a little bit on this show. And first off, how are things up in New York?
Things are good. Today it's a good weather day, right? It's rare at this time to have like a good weather day, but today's solid. But the weather's been erratic as it always is. But New York is good.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. So I know I just mentioned the Final Four here in the intro. I'm sure you're excited for it as well. But do you have any dog in the fight? Do you have any team you're really pulling for, or what?
So I have a UConn future, so I guess I'm pulling for UConn. I will say I actually really regret this. A lot of our team was really on FAU, and a couple people are holding FAU as champions tickets, and I didn't tail them. So I'm a little mad at myself for not doing that. So kind of secretly, I'm rooting for UConn, but for FTN purposes, I'm rooting for FAU.
That's awesome. Should be an amazing Final Four, and who would have expected it, right? I mean, it seems like we say this every year. It's like, it's probably going to be some teams we don't do, but then we all go out and pick like the teams that we know probably should do it, and then here we are again with 4 teams that nobody expected. So always crazy. But hey, I want to dive into you, Stefano. I want to learn a little bit about you. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about, before we dive into FTN Network, I want to hear about you, your path, maybe some of the experiences you've had, and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. So I got in this industry. So I was a couple years out of college. I was like working, that traditional kind of desk job, 9 to 5. It was very boring. I wasn't really having fun. And so, this was right when DFS started kind of kicking off, and NBA has always been like a passion of mine. Sports in general has been a passion of mine, but I really focused on NBA. So I was like having some success in the early stages of DFS, playing NBA DFS. And I was like, let me create a Twitter account just for some fun, right? I'll put like some tips on there, some picks, some analysis, right? And I was like doing it during my work break, my lunch break, sorry. Not under my name, because obviously I was scared that I was going to get caught, that I wasn't actually doing work. Sometimes while at work, I was tweeting under an anonymous name, sure. A really cheesy name too. Like the story was like, I was like, what's like the cheesiest name I could pick? And I chose Big Money Play. And there it is. And so, yeah, I was like kind of, tweeting out NBA advice. I was picking up a little bit of a following, not a huge following, but I had like a 1,500 or 2,000 followers or something. I was getting good engagement. And then randomly, someone who I used to go to college with actually followed me, right? And he didn't know it was me because it wasn't under my name. Sure, I had a picture of a cat as my as my Twitter avatar. And he followed me, and looking back on it, this is like so stupid on me. I was like, oh, should I like DM him? Like, I don't want anyone to find out it's me, so I don't get in trouble in work, as if like him finding out would have any impact on that whatsoever, right?
Right.
And so he actually eventually DM'd me, not knowing it was me, and he was doing like NFL advice, and we were like kind of exchanging NFL and NBA picks. And eventually, right after a couple weeks, I somehow find the courage to say, hey, it's Stefano from St. Joe's. And he was like, oh, and we were friends in college. We kind of like, we lost touch out of college. So it's like kind of us reconnected, but we were very friendly in college. And so we were kind of exchanging, DMs. And then fast forward a couple months later, he actually got an opportunity to be the chief product officer at a new startup. It was actually called the Quant Edge. And he DM'd me. He said, hey, we're looking to start like an NBA, product. I think you should interview. I think it's a bit of a long shot because you have no experience in this space, but I figured I'd like send you the courtesy. And I was like, yeah, cool. I'll interview, right? I'm not having fun at my job right now. This sounds like a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And so I went through the interview process, honestly, with super, super low expectations. And I went through the first round, I went through the second round, and then I had the third round, and it was between me and this other guy. And they actually picked the other guy over me, which they should have, because he had 25,000 followers and was a much bigger presence in the space than I was. And then he actually turned down the job at the last moment. So I ended up getting the job
by default.
Yeah, by default, right? And I'll take that. And so I became the NBA product manager at the Quant Edge. I was hired by I don't know if you're familiar with Elliot Christ. He's now the CEO of Fantasy. But that's who my buddy is. And so started that was my first path, my first entrance into this space. And so as the NBA product manager, it was my job, right, to build the product, right? This company was essentially building really advanced betting models using quants. And I actually had to teach the quants what's important about basketball while also kind of creating content around basketball and selling subscriptions and all that fun stuff. And, I kind of took it upon myself to, I wanted to push the product as much as possible. So I took it upon myself to learn, Facebook ads, Google ads, and just digital marketing in general. And that was really, I kind of taught myself, how to run ads. And I was actually pretty good at it and had success. And so that was my path into the industry, and then my path into the sports betting marketing space and the operations space. Fast forward a couple months later, actually not a couple months later, a couple years later, I actually got laid off in February of 2020, 3 weeks before the shutdown, right? It was pre-COVID layoff. It wasn't a COVID layoff, even though it could be disguised as that, right? So, here I am, I was like, all right, I mean, this was a great opportunity. I was looking for other, opportunities in the space, and then the pandemic hit, and obviously the sports world shut down. So it was not a great time to find a job in this space. And I linked up with Kevin Adams, who's now the CEO of FTN. And, I was thinking about starting my own thing because I knew how to bring in an audience through paid ads. Right. And I was thinking I could do this on the affiliate side. I knew how to get traffic, even though I didn't have a big audience. And he had a big audience, and he was starting FTN and had these huge plans. And so I was like, this is a perfect time to start a sports betting business, right? When there's no sports going on. And so then I linked up with Kevin, and me and him and the team, then launched FTN Network.
That's amazing. That's cool how everything comes circled around. And, sometimes you feel like you may have got the job on accident, but now you're in the industry, and now you're just, you're a big part of it. And, that's awesome. That's very cool. Do you miss your old job though? The one before you got into this crazy space?
Absolutely not. I will say it was I think the most fun was sneaking around, tweeting at my desk during my lunch break, trying not to get caught. Be like,
I have some similar stories in that space where, you use the alias names and what am I doing here? Yeah, I love that.
This is a little random, but it's just going back to my Twitter name, right? That's the one thing I've never changed. I've kept my handle Big Money Play, just because I don't know. I think it's kind of funny, and it's my roots, right? It's where I started. Even though as I'm becoming more of a professional in this space, I probably should change it to @Stefano Vaccarino.
Your name,
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, that's awesome. Well, let's dive into FTN Network now. I mean, I know there's lots of traction. Things are growing. You guys seem to be everywhere. You got the fantasy side, the daily side, the bets side, the data side. You got a lot going on, obviously, with it being a network. Where do we want to start? Let's start with the data side, because that's a little more on the business to business side. Explain a little bit about FTN data first, and then we'll dive into some of the other branches of what's going on with FTN Network.
Yeah, sure. So I guess I'll start continuing the story, right? That I just had. So essentially, it's May, right, of 2020, and we're building this business, and the goal is to build essentially a subscription service business, right? An advanced subscription service that's going to focus on fantasy football, DFS, and sports betting across 3 different sites. And so we actually didn't have plans to have a B2B wing and really become a data company. Except,
okay.
Yeah, it came. So essentially, we were set to launch July 7th. And, we were looking for advanced NFL data packages, and they were all really, really, really expensive. Right. And we were bootstrapping this, and it was just this is tough to afford. Right. Even though we have to do it. So we're going to have to pay for it. And we stumbled upon another company that was a cheaper price point, right?
Mm.
And we spoke with the guy, and he seemed like he wanted to like retire, right? This was his hobby. He was enjoying it. It was just a guy, charting NFL data with the team for, the past 20 years or so.
Sure.
And he was selling this really important and valuable data at a really, really great cost. And instead of buying a data package, we actually ended up buying a data company. And so that's so that's when that's how FTN data kind of spun off. And so then here we are already getting ready to launch our 3 sites. We just acquired a data company, and we're like, okay, we still need revenue, right? Because like we're bootstrapping this. And so
Sure.
we were going to be essentially, the plan is like the plan was we were going to service his existing data clients while we're
Yep.
sort of building that business, but really launch our 3 B2C sites. And that's ftnfantasy.com, ftndaily.com, and ftnbets.com.
Yeah.
Again, because we needed revenue. And so the first year, right, we serviced the existing FTN data clients. We weren't looking to grow it. We were seeing like what we had, what we can do, while generating revenue. And then that revenue essentially was funding the FTN data side.
Sure.
And then the next sort of 6 to 10 months after that, we needed to redo a lot of the backend infrastructure on ftndata.com. As you can imagine, right, this wasn't this guy's full-time job. This was like a hobby. And so a lot of the technology we had, like the API and the backend admin, was kind of dated technology. It wasn't strong enough to support our goals, right, and our aspirations. So then we spent the next 6 to 12 months redoing the entire backend infrastructure of FTN data, to the point where this past NFL season was really our first true season under our new backend, where it was our test, right? And we're going into this NFL season as our first sort of go to market season, where we're really going to try and scale our clients and some of our customers. And the whole idea about FTN data, right, is we were in this position, right, where we needed an advanced NFL data package. It was too expensive. We were funding this ourselves. And there just wasn't an option, right? There wasn't an affordable, reliable data option in our space. Yeah. And that's what we want FTN data to become, that affordable, reliable option. That we're gonna help you customize what you want, right? We'll customize feeds for what you want. Our data is essentially open. You can use it however you want. There's no restraints to it, and we'll help you build whatever you need to build in order to make that happen.
That's amazing. And I see, I'm scrolling through your sites, looking at everything that you guys are doing. But on the FTN data, it looks like you're trusted by several partners already. I was going to ask, how are things going? Name drop some of the partners you guys are working with. But I mean, you have a lot of them listed right here. It sounds like things are picking up and going pretty well then on the data side, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And, being in catering to smaller sites and smaller businesses or blogs, right, doesn't just mean we only cater to smaller businesses. Caesars, again, is a client of ours, and so our goal, right, that's essentially how we want to take market share. So as the sports betting and the fantasy world, it continues to explode, right? This isn't going anywhere. There's going to be as states become legalized, like California and Texas are still not legal, you're going to see more and more smaller shops, right? Whether it's like a LA Rams blog, right, that wants advanced NFL data to create content around, or a new DFS site or a new sports book that's going to launch. There's going to be a lot more of those, and there's going to be a lot more opportunities in the market to capture, right? And we want to be that company that those startups come to for that super reliable data that they need.
That's amazing. I got a little bit of a selfish question for you, because sometimes I know it's hard, and I'm living proof of this, of what kind of some things I'm going through right now. But to play on the B2C side and the B2B side together, have you guys? I mean, you're having success doing it, but have you guys seen challenges just keeping up, or is your team just so good that it's just not even a challenge for you guys? Tell me a little bit about that, the hurdles that you have to come across when you're trying to deal with B2C and B2B at the same time.
That is 100% our biggest hurdle. And you hear it with potential, I'm sure if you have VCs or anyone who invests in companies, some things they stand away from, right, is people who are in too many lanes, right? They're not just focused on one thing. And that's been our biggest challenge. However, we embrace it because that's sort of what we want. We want to become that almost like a conglomerate in our space, right? We're covering everything. So while we like to say the sum of our parts are unique, because we really cater to everything. We want to cover everything. We have an affiliate side. We have a free side, right? That's just like free content. We have a subscription service, and we have a B2B side where we can service, some would say competitors on our 3 sites, on the 3 B2C sites, but we wouldn't view them competitors. We want to view them as partners, right? And as clients. And so yes, it's a huge challenge. And it's one thing, it's a credit to our team that, everyone is in it for the same goal, right? We all want to blow this up, and you don't really have office hours, right? We're all grinding. We're all working a ton of hours. We're like, I like to say we're a large, but also a super small team. Like we have about like 12 to 15 full-time employees, but we have another maybe like 40 or 50 contractors, right? Who do smaller jobs. And so, that's essentially how we've kind of divvied up the work, where it's like, okay, we can hire a contractor for maybe this part of the business, and he'll only focus on this small part of the business. And then we have a couple full-time people who are looking at the overall business.
Sure. Amazing. Awesome. And I know you're specializing. I mean, I'm sure you have your hand in a lot of different areas of the business, but you're doing a lot on the marketing side. And so I'd be remiss if I didn't ask a little bit about the marketing and how you guys are able to see through all the noise that's going on. I mean, because there's a lot of companies right now. I mean, tons and tons of companies and people, and there's just a lot of things going on. There's a lot of people fighting for that position, jockeying for position on the B2B side. On the B2C side, there's just so much going on there as well. From a marketing side, how do you guys compete? What are some of the secret sauce that you're using to really, try to stay relevant and seen in this crazy space?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially we have multiple kind of funnels, right? To get people into, let's like, we're looking at as our marketing funnel, right? And the top end is just the top part of our traffic that we just want people on our website. And then when we get people on our website, right, is through SEO, right? That's something we've prioritized. We want our traffic to be as organic as possible. We want FTN to be found if someone is searching fantasy football rankings. So we've put a really strong emphasis on building our domain authority and building our SEO rankings, right? And fighting for important keywords. Last year, like for example, we were super pumped. We were in the top 3 for fantasy football rankings 2022 for like a good 4 to 6 months, right? And then once some of the big boys came in towards like August, right, we started dropping. We were like in like that 5 to 8 range. But to us, that was like a huge accomplishment, because it's tough to get that authority in such a short amount of time. So we really prioritize SEO. My background is really in the digital side in terms of like social ads or Google ads, right? And so we've done a bunch of campaigns that that essentially have brought traffic to our website on that top end of the funnel at a super low cost per click, anywhere between like 7 cents and we've gone up to $1, right? That's on the higher end. But like really, if we're getting a click at under 50 cents, we're pretty happy. And so we've had different marketing strategies around like content that we want to push that we think is going to click well if we put money behind it. And so we also have that social presence too. We have a lot of our content creators, right, have a really strong following, and we want to make sure they're pushing links to our site, because what we really care about are those link clicks that come to our website. And then it's on me to just essentially retarget them all, whether it's through Facebook ads, through Google ads, through email, right? We collect someone's email, and then we'll put them in our retargeting funnel, and then we continue to retarget people until they eventually convert, right?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Yeah, that's you gave me a lot there. That's amazing. That's awesome to hear that you guys are finding your success through. I personally love hearing that you still are using SEO, because I love the content side and everything that's going on there. And man, it's such a fun game to see where you're ranking and to try to beat others for different terms and things of that nature. So
and that's
refreshing to hear a company that's still valuing some of that.
Yeah, SEO is the most important, in my opinion. Like if you're really going to go for it, you need to find a way to just try and rank well, because you can for a term that maybe you don't think is like that popular. Let's say it's like I'm using, let's say Chiefs Bengals, but like week 13, right? It's just random, and you target that keyword. There's less competition on that keyword than best NFL picks or something like that, right? And so really just like having a strategy and an understanding on SEO and knowing what to compete for, right? Like we're not gonna, like where we are for FTN bets specifically, right? We're not gonna compete for player props, that keyword. Like it's not gonna happen. We need like another 5 years of authority in order to compete with like some of the sites that have been up for 10 plus years, right, that have been ready for this. But there's ways to compete for keywords that do have good traffic that essentially aren't as competitive. And so SEO, I mean, I'm glad you're a fan of SEO. I think it's the most important aspect, honestly, in any sort of like content company. Just understanding like, what Google likes, what you need to do, and just slowly build, because it's a long game.
You said it right there. I was going to say, you got to be patient with SEO. It's not a quick win. It's not the paid ads, and it's a long grind. But let's shift gears for a second. I want to talk about the future. What's the future look like for you guys? Any breaking type of news that you guys have, or is it just much of the same? Continue to build the B2C and the B2B side, and keep growing in all ways.
Well, the future is really on the B2B side, and that's like really scaling FTN data. And that's not minimizing the 3 other sites. Like, we're going to continue to grow those sites. We want those sites to operate. We want those sites to continue to drive revenue. But currently on FTN data, like we're only doing advanced NFL data, right? And so we have like 25 charters on staff who are charting every snap of every game. We want to basically double the amount of charters we have, so we're able to push our data out quicker to clients. I think last year we got all of our advanced data out by end of day Tuesday. We're trying to push for end of day Monday, which is tough, right? It's challenging with so many games, especially with Monday night. And then really starting to scale to other sports, right? We have NBA and PGA as our next 2 that we're ready to kind of go live with. And essentially we want to become the future is FTN data becoming a full service data company that essentially has every single sports offering and an advanced data package for every single sport offering.
Cool. Big dreams, big visions. I love that. That's amazing. And it's cool to hear that you guys are, really going to focus on that B2B side. Quite a bit of the audience is listening is other B2B people, other company owners, other leaders, other executives, startups, entrepreneurs. I don't know if I want to say what ask would you have, but I mean, if there's one challenge or one thing you're looking for, or you guys might need that others listening may be able to help with, what would that be? Is there anything that comes to mind?
It's a good question. I would say, honestly, like I think introductions are the best, right? And that's like the best way to form a partnership, where it's like, if, I'll drop my email in case anyone wants to email me. But so if, like, let's say someone emails me at Stefano@ftnnetwork.com, and just even like any of those like soft intros, and just like start a conversation, whether it's with you or you want to intro someone to someone else. It's just super helpful. It's something I kind of pride myself on too. We were in, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Techstars, but we were in Techstars, just the sports cohort in 2022, last year. And so I've remained like friendly with a lot of the others, like a lot of the other companies, right? And the CEOs or COOs or CMOs that I met when I was in Indianapolis for a couple months. And one thing that we all kind of do, and it's almost like a community, is like if someone needs something or someone needs an intro to another company, and another person has that intro, just that soft intro goes so far. It's really, really important. And so it doesn't feel like sort of just like you're I'm blanking on the name, but you're just randomly calling someone, you're cold calling someone, right? Or cold emailing someone. And so I would say, not just for FTN specifically, but I think it really goes a long way to make a soft intro to anyone who you think might be a good connection.
100%. And I'll make sure to put your email in the show notes. I know you dropped it there, but say it one more time, just so people that didn't catch it. What was the email in case they want to get hold of you?
Stefano@ftnnetwork.com. So just my first name @ftnnetwork.com.
Perfect. We'll make sure to put that out in the show notes, Stefano. And hopefully people listening, if they like this interview, like what you guys are doing at FTN across the board, they'll get a hold of you. Hey, we got baseball starting like today. We got Final Four this weekend. I mean, some think it's a slower time in sports. I'm excited for baseball and Final Four. You have a baseball team? I mean, I have to ask real quick, a personal baseball team?
So I'm a huge Mets fan. Nice. I would say baseball is not like my favorite sport, but like growing up, my family, like the Mets are the team that I rooted for the most because my family was always around it. So it's almost like nostalgic for me to be like a huge Mets fan. And so I was a miserable Mets fan, but now in the Steve Cohen era, I'm a happier Mets fan, right? I like where we're going as an organization. So, our first game's at 4 today, right? Hoping for a positive season. Losing Edwin Diaz wasn't great, but good thing our owner isn't afraid to spend money if he has to. I'm looking forward to the Mets season.
Well, amazing. Well, thank you for your time today. Any last words? Anything we missed? Anything you wanted to say before I let you go here?
No, I appreciate you having me on. This is a lot of fun. If anyone wants to connect with me that's listening, yeah, feel free to email me or shoot me a DM on Twitter. I have a pretty unique name, so if you just search Stefano Vaccarino on Twitter, I won't use my actual handle because I don't want to embarrass myself anymore. But feel free to send me a DM. I would love to kind of connect with people. And instead, I had a great time. Thank you for having me on.
Amazing. Thank you for joining me, Stefano, and good luck to the whole FTN network team. And I'm excited to see what you guys do on the B2B side as well with FTN data. So we'll keep an eye on you, and we'll drop all those links in the show notes here, but appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, my friend. Take care. All right, that was Stefano Vaccarino of FTN Network. Really cool, man. They got so much going on. I could spend all day diving into all of these, 3 B2C sites and the FTN data and all sorts of stuff going on there. So if you get some time, click on those links, check them all out, see what all they have going on over at the FTN Network. All right, that was episode 196. Thank you again for tuning in. I'm Ryan Newpol at KNUP, out on most socials. You'll find me somewhere out there if you search for Knup. So appreciate everything. Appreciate you tuning in. Until next time, stay safe. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.